Okay. Welcome everyone to the Black Betterment broadcast. This is your host, Rap Raven. And now let me just set up my PDF. We have a thrilling show. Let me say hi to everyone in the forum. Hi, family.
Greetings.
Hey. Brother IC3 is gonna come in soon and drop some heavy science on us. But today, let's now stop sharing this. If I can remember this. And share it. Voila. And here we go. Let's share that. All right. So today, as you can see, show 5. All right. And why do we do what we do? Because unfortunately, after much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently Black people are collectively inadequate, right? And I mean that in the most kindest, correct terms possible. So one of the solutions is Black people helping Black people on Black issues, a lifestyle of betterment. And this show is to help promote a lifestyle of betterment, as well as to allow all Black people to come on and to give how they feel betterment can be achieved. So week to week, you're always welcome to join. Just give me a message and you can come on. You can let me know. Do you have any ideas of how collectively Black people can achieve betterment in the UK and all over the world, right? All right, so
Raven, I think your mic's a bit low, or maybe it's me, but I think your mic sounds a little bit low. Can you make it a bit louder?
Let me try. Hold on. Let me change some mics. Hold on. How about now? Is it slightly better? Is it your one?
No, it's still weak. I can hear you, but it's just very. I have to put the volume up, and I don't usually put the volume up on my headphones, so I don't usually do it. So I'm just guessing. I'm guessing it must be low because I'm having to. I put the volume up.
How about this? Because this is my expensive.
Whoa, that's it. Oh, that's powerful, clear.
Yeah, this is my phantom power mic I use for recording music. So
well, that's power, mate. That I put my volume down a bit now. That's it. That's it. you got it.
Maybe from week to week I'll use this one. My
definitely, it's crisp. It's clear.
Yes, it costs enough to make it crisp. Trust me. So I hope so. All right, that's good. All right, from now on we're going to use phantom power mics. Excellent. All right, so where were we? So when we practice Betterment, I'm pushing forward that we try the 4D values. Now, what are the 4D values? Discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. And that's the 4D values. All right, so let me not waste no time because we've got a nice jam-packed show for you today. So without wasting no time, brother IC3, let's take it there. So, brother, what would you like to talk about?
Yes, I would like to talk about the concept of banking and reparations. Now, would you like me to give just a little bit of history of what I'm about to speak about? How I came. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. How I would like to do is maybe just do a brief, because I've obviously been well aware of you, but some of the brothers might not necessarily know about what you do and how long you've been doing it for. Just a brief intro of that, and then you can go into your topic and how you came by it and the value of it. But just so they know who you are, if you don't mind, that is. So I don't know if you
okay. Okay. I'm a person classified as black, IC3 black, and I've had a great interest in the challenges that have been facing people classified as black. I was going to say for a number of years, I would say all my life. And I've been to many groups and many meetings and so on. But to put everything in context, basically all of this started off with an interest in Speaker's Corner and visiting Speaker's Corner as a place of free speech. So I'm a regular visitor at Speaker's Corner, regular speaker at Speaker's Corner on various topics of religion, politics, race, and so on, and debating or discussing, trying to discuss that issue. So people mainly know me from Speaker's Corner, and the subjects that I speak on are focused on race, and mainly race and history, and as that relates to identity. And so I run a think tank, an international think tank called the Identity Politics Forum at Speaker's Corner. And the idea started off with putting a few chairs in a circle, because if you're a regular visitor to Speaker's Corner, you'll find if it's a really good day, you can spend quite a few hours on your feet, on your legs, and they get really tired, and your back, you start feeling pains in your back and your legs and so on, and you really cry out for a seat. So I thought, let me put a few seats out. Let's see what happens. Put them in a circle. I wonder if that could encourage discussion. And I noticed also that people, when they're discussing a passionate subject, their emotions seem to take over them, and they start to edge closer and closer to each other until their faces are really almost touching, their nose are almost touching, and then at that point it could spark off into a fight or some trouble or whatever. So I thought, if I can combine, if I can create a solution that can deal with those two problems in one go, in one hit, that would be interesting. One, if you have all the seats in a row, in a circle, then people can talk passionately, and they'll won't walk towards each other. You know, their voices will just raise. And two, they'll have somewhere to sit, and that should, because they're more comfortable, should provide better conversation. So that's. Would you have to go? I can go on a bit more on that, but is that enough?
Because I can testify that I have used that format when I come and I've spoken some of your in your kind of circle meetings and stuff. And would it be correct to say that when you have dialogues, you prefer it to be quite structured and to have like a goal, and like, rather than the kind of like more argumentative sort of stuff you see, you prefer more structure? Would you say that's correct, or is that, would you say?
I'd say structured. But the structure is not focused on limiting people to what they say, because the spirit of free speech and Speaker's Corner has to be kept. But the structure is in the behavior.
Right.
So speak clearly. Try to speak clearly. Try to speak in a way. Don't assume that everybody sitting in the circle speaks your language even. Because there's lots of tourists that come there, and their English might not be up to it. So you sometimes people get passionate and start racing away with words like a machine gun, and insulting and cracking jokes and putting a bit of information in, and it's just confusion. So structured format is basically the structure of taking your time to try and make sure people understand what you're saying wherever they are from. So structured in that way.
Okay, now before you go on and you tell us the reason you've come here, let me just explain the format to people who might be new. And basically, week to week, we invite one or two guests on who come with a topic they wish to talk about in the hopes of achieving collective betterment for Black people. And right at the end, we give out the link so people can either ask questions at the end of their speech or what they've said, or they can even come into the actual forum and have like a back and forth talk and structured debate and just a reasoning lesson. So just so you know, the links will be put into the actual forums for anyone who wishes to jump in. So that's how we also handle it here as well. But without wasting time, brother, take it away. What would you like to talk about? What would you like to talk about?
Reparations and banking.
Okay, which one would you like to start with?
I was just looking at it actually. I'll start with banking.
Okay, let's press the magic button. There you go. Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So how these and how and why these two topics of banking and reparations. Now I'll explain a little bit of history, just a little bit of history on that. You could ask questions on it later on if you want. So when I won't go back that far. Over the years, I hear people discussing about reparations, but I've never really heard them discussing about banking. So maybe I should start reparations. Or we'll see how it goes. I've been to many talks and so on, and even talking about reparations or banking, it always appears to me to be. I get kind of I listen and pick up a kind of negative vibe. It's usually when people start talking about Black people banking or reparations. There's a lot of people there always mocking them and say it's stupid, and even a lot of Black people say, "Oh, we'll never get reparations." Never. They like to use that word "never" when it's associated with reparations. Never and reparations. And I thought to myself, there must be a way of rethinking this reparations. And plus, when I looked at some of the books that were published in reparations, they seem to be the ones that I come across. They seem to be providing whinging material rather than a whole thick book saying that, oh, this was done and you deserve reparations. Oh, this was done and you deserve reparations. Right, but what's the strategy? Are there any suggestions to how to go about it? I always found that bit very thin in writing, in video, and in conversation. So it seemed to be a problem people liked talking about, but the solutions were extremely thin. And the same kind of thing I came across when talking about banking, and even the history of banking, which was so serious and so interesting, and there seemed to be a pattern in the history of Black banking. So what started me off on this, trying to find solutions to these problems, I started a think tank in 2017 in Tottenham. And I picked out a few people that I noticed were really good thinkers. They weren't easily swayed. So found some tough people, but they were sharp and they knew how to speak without getting too carried away and passionate. But they had strong views, and so it's nice sometimes to find some good opposition in order to improve your game. And so started that around about 2017. So we used to meet along West Green roads, sometimes short meetings, sometimes long meetings. And the meeting was always about solutions.
Right.
I was buying the drinks, so that's why I could. I was saying, look, no, we're not going down there. We're not going down there. I'm going to buy the drinks. We're here to talk about solutions to these problems that are not often talked about. Let's stay focused here. And so that was going on. So a lot of these ideas that I'm presenting this evening has come as a result of that think tank.
Right.
Problem solving think tank. Trying to get solutions, not whinging. So so I kind of cut my teeth with those. So what the core of us, there was 3 of us, was the core, but other people came. So one of them, he's kind of half and half on this presentation. But the third one, he's dead against. He's still dead against me. But he's brilliant. He's brilliant in his thinking tank. And I got him in check, but not checkmate.
Right.
And the reason I got him in check is because what we disagreed on. I was saying that you have to have clear identity for a group to work together effectively. He was saying no. He was saying, then he was a musician, so he uses the model of a group of musicians, a successful musical group. He said that a group of people, they can get together and play, and over time, people will jam. You know, jam session, musician jam session. Yeah. So what it is? It's a group of musicians get together and they jam. They just play. They just enjoy playing their instruments and developing their skills. Right. And as a result of that, you get a certain sound. Certain people get to like each other's playing, and they develop a certain sound. And then some people join, some people leave. But over a period of time, a group of people, musicians, just like that, like getting together just to jam and play and share ideas, eventually forms a sound, a great sound. And then that sound can then have an identity afterwards. That group then finds a name for itself after they're happy with each other.
Right.
Yeah. So that was his counter to mine. So I'm saying no, identity first, and then he's saying no, group first. So that debate is still going on. So but he clearly laid out his position, you know, and that's good. I like that kind of opposition. And the other guy was more business orientated and so on, and asking difficult questions for us to discuss. So so I said all that to say that was the birthplace of what I'm about to talk about today.
Right.
Yeah, tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
From a think tank.
Yeah.
Oh, and just to quickly put this in, that what I found out is when you have a group of people that just are focused together on problem solving and not discussing anything else.
Right.
What I found is in my observation that we were the core group, and we used to meet in the restaurants and restaurants and different places around West Green Road. That because we were meeting regularly, other people started to hear about what we was doing, and then they started to come down, and then some people would like to join in the conversation. But a lot of them, they couldn't take the problem solving. They wanted to just come and whinge. So they couldn't really survive because this is hardcore solution finding. Right. So people's word becomes, they've got a lot to say when it comes to about complaints and problems and what black people are doing this and this black person should be, they've got lots of things to say. But when you say, okay, so now what is the solution? Then nothing. So those didn't last. But also other people just realized what we were doing, and somehow it created a vibe, and they would come around and they would be selling stuff and organizing events and dances, just a vibe, other things, and other black events. So a lot of events were organized around Tottenham, but they just like to be in that atmosphere, a problem solving atmosphere somehow generated lots of other things at the same time. Yeah, so that's the anything else you want to say? Anything else, or is that enough?
Well, I'm making notes here because I'll probably ask you afterwards. But
Yeah, okay.
I'm definitely highlighting this concept of problem solving only. That's something that I kind of resonate with. And
Okay.
then we can maybe at the end. And
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I haven't got much to say.
That's fine.
So I like to work with the questions. You see,
Yeah.
because then I have to work.
Yeah.
I have to work.
So because we're on the bank concept, I'm assuming. Stop me if I'm wrong. That you are trying to obviously solve the problem of maybe what has happened to black people or what is happening to black people, and one of the solutions potentially, I'm assuming, is a black banking. Is that? Am I on the right path?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Good. Making sure I'm on the right path there, right? And
yeah.
So what do I tell black people about black banking? What information do I know, or should we know, or should we try to find out when it comes to this concept of black banking? How can black banking help black people with betterment? How can we improve as a people if we practice black banking? What is that? Explain it to me. You can.
Okay. So, the concept of banking, is very tightly related to reparations, and that is the view that we arrived at from the think tank, because traditionally, when people hear the word reparations, the most popular view is that, oh, we've got to get this big check. And then some people say, well, it's not just only a check and money. We want schools, institutions, some changes in the law, and so on and so on and so on, for reparations. But fundamentally, the idea has been getting a big check for reparations, and most strategies have been around that. Now, so from the think tank, we were discussing, and to illustrate the banking, is that we were discussing reparations, and I said, okay, let's try and visualize this. So let's say this is a question, a test question, asked to many people that came and visited the think tank. I said, okay, so you have your national insurance number. And what if I was to say to you, you have your national insurance number. Now, what if I was to say to you that I have a code, a reference code, and if you go down to the City of London and with your national insurance number and this code, which I'm about to give you, you'll be able to collect reparations due to you.
Right. Because of the format you've pushed it, may I just jump in there? So, when it comes to reparations, just so I'm clear, you know, like at the minute in America, they've got this American descendants. I don't feel
ADOS,
right?
Yeah, and fundamental Black American.
Yeah, and the fundamental Black, and what both of them are pretty much the same, just different names. But I think what they're saying is, what they want to highlight is they want people who were here, Black people who were here through transatlantic slave trade, who went through Jim Crow, who were taken from another continent and enslaved. They want particular reparations for those particular people. When you talk about reparations, I don't know if you got there yet, but have you thought about, is there a particular group? Is it for all Black people? Is it just to be spread amongst everyone?
Don't worry, I'm going to be answering all those questions. So I'm just laying down answering, all the primary stuff. I'm just laying down all the foundational stuff, and then we're going to zoom in, and you can fire questions from whatever angle. But all of that's been thought about. Don't worry about that. So I'm just trying to lay the groundwork. First, I started off with the think tank. why these ideas came about. Then the subject, banking and reparations, and then why banking and reparations. That I'm saying, I'm talking a little bit about reparations to explain to you now why banking. Because remember the agreement is I'm starting off with banking, so I'm talking about reparations because I'm leading towards banking. And then from banking, I'll be explaining reparations from the banking perspective. Yeah. So I'm swinging left to right, kind of, banking, reparations, banking. But the issue here I'm trying to address is the issue of banking, and I'm trying to show that the importance of banking from the aspect of reparations and why that justifies banking. So the test question was, if you had your national insurance number and your and this code, you can go down to the City of London and collect your reparations. And I said, if I was to give you that code, what would you do? And most people said, whoa, man, I'm going straight down to the City of London tomorrow. I'm going down there tomorrow morning to just collect my reparations. I said, okay, so you're going to go down. Now you've got your code and you have your national insurance number. You're going to go down straight away and collect your reparations. Yes. Yep. What? All kinds of expressions. I said, okay. So let's say that they have to wheel the reparations out to you on a number of crates. You know those pump trucks. I don't know if you've ever seen those warehouse pump trucks.
Big ones, yeah.
For carrying heavy stuff. So let's say there's a few crates of gold and there's some other things. Yeah. You get your payment in gold. And then they wheel it out to you and said, well, there you are. You have a look. That's your reparations. And you make, wow, look at those. About 40 crates of gold and so on, different other things, and cash and so on. Right. I said, yes, I'm going to take it. I said, well, okay. So how are you going? Where are you going to take it? Where are you going to take your reparations? People said, how? I'm going to take it back to my flat. I'll take it home. Right. This is real. People said, yeah. I said, wait, so you want to take all of that gold and all that cash, all that crates, back to your flat and to your house? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so how are you going to get that all that stuff back to your flat? How are you going to get it back to your house? They said, "Oh, look, I'm just going to call up some friends." I said, "Oh, you're going to call up some friends, are you? You're going to call up some friends that have a truck? I'm going to hire a truck." I think you're getting the gist. You see, right. So a lot of people are thinking about grabbing the values, grabbing the money, but they have no plan
past that.
Past that, they're not even thinking. They're not even thinking about it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this is real. And so far that question, anyway. And then after I keep digging them, then I say, then they start to realize the magnitude of the situation. And they say, oh, I'm going to have to I'm going to have to move it to another bank. I said, wait a minute. You're taking the stuff out of one bank and you're moving it to another bank. Yeah. And I'll stocks and trades, and I'm going to trade, and I'm going to stocks and shares. And I said, whoa. But you haven't even set up a bank account with another bank yet, have you? Then you'd have to work out the relationship between that bank where you're taking your reparations from and how that's going to get to the other bank. Now, is there any black banks? So you're going to take out one suspect white supremacist bank and put it in another suspect white supremacist bank. Correct?
Yeah, this sounds quite correct at the moment.
And then you hope to do shares, stocks and shares and trading. So I said, well, and then after a while, it kind of peters out. But all these conversations based on that question come after they've gone down to collect their reparations. So I was saying, so I thought, then they fire the question back at me. Okay. Well, what would you do then? I'd say I would check that everything is real about this code and national insurance number, and then I wouldn't touch that reparations money and goods and whatever until I had a whole community behind me who were about to do exactly the same thing as me. So it wouldn't just be me or my little self going down there to get 3 crates of gold or 50 crates of gold. I would have a whole community or nation behind me just to help me collect my share. And why would they all be behind me? Not because they're going to get a cut of my share. It's because I will have to be behind each one of them when they go to collect their share. So just like yeah, does that make sense?
So far.
Yeah. So because that's the only security and protection you have. And then that community or nation that is behind me, helping me to collect my share of reparations, obviously for them to be behind me and to be a functional nation or community, then they must have some organizing principles among themselves, which I would share, obviously. That would keep us together, protecting each of us, and helping all who's involved to collect their share of reparations. So that is the idea of the basis of the bank. Yeah. So it's a group of people. So that very group of people or nation or community, then the most effective format for that group or community to function in protecting each other to collect their share of reparations, the most effective organization would be a bank, a black bank. That would be another way of describing the functional reparations aspect of that group of people. So that I said all of that to say that's why I'm talking about the banking issue. Right. Does that explain the banking?
So I guess what you're saying is before we can really unpack this reparations, it's like it might be quite counterproductive if we don't have a place to put it. We're going from one controlled environment to another controlled environment where we're still not necessarily in control of what we're receiving. So we're still contributing to our downfall in some aspect, I'm assuming.
Correct. Right. That is the basis for the concept of black banking.
Got you. Okay, so then does that mean now we can then move on to reparations now that we've got the foundation of the why behind the bank? Is that what you say? That's correct?
Not quite. I'm just going to finish off on the black banking.
Keep going. And just so before you move on, just there's a list of questions that we will answer at the end of it because obviously people have been.
Oh yeah, great. Wait, I don't mind. Keep the questions flowing. That's why I'm making the talk very short.
Wow.
and then the
Well,
question time as long as you want.
yeah. Okay. Well, I guess just keep landing, and then at the end we can read through the questions. I guess.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So if you got questions, other people got questions, just write them down, and then
Yeah.
get ready. Get ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I said black banking, but I added IC3 black banking,
Okay.
right? Because the, black, if blackness is not defined and clarified in the context of reparations, you're just setting yourself up again for failure. Because how can you then begin? What are you talking about when you use the word black? Do you mean politically black, which means all non-white people? Black? What do you mean by that? Politically black? All that means everybody who is non-white.
Right.
And in actual fact, it's a bit worse than that, because oh no, that's right. Black, politically black is one. It could be politically. Let's look at this. 2, 3. Right, there's three forms of black. Politically black is anybody who's non-white. Then you've got BAME black. That's a British black, Asian, minority, ethnic black. Yeah, BAME black. That also includes white people, because it includes the Eastern Europeans and white people that might be classed as an ethnic minority. See, so black, Asian, and minority ethnic.
Words. Clear.
Yeah. So that's the second type of black. And then you've got IC3 black. And IC3 black is not white. It's not. IC3 black is not IC1 white, which is white, white Northern European. It's not that. IC3 is not IC2, which is dark Southern European. IC3 is not IC4, which is Asian. IC3 is not IC5, which is Chinese or Mongoloid. IC3 is not IC6, which is Arab or Middle East. So you know what it is not, and then you know what it is. IC3 is black, as in African, Caribbean, yes, Negro, colored. Yep.
Right. Clarity on that one.
There you go. So when I say IC3 black bank for reparations, people know exactly what type of black I am talking about. Precisely. Right. Now, reparations. Reparations. So, as I said earlier, over the years, I've heard many discussions and presentations and books, and bought a few books and about the subject. And they all seem to be ones that I come across. I mean, you might know some others that are not like this, but they all seem to be about 80% full of whinging. and well, I don't know if it's 80%. I struggle to find solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it tend to be about clarifying the problem more and more, more and more and more and more. But when it comes to the solutions, um, I just couldn't find any. Maybe I'm a bad reader, or I miss things. But I never I never came away with a solution to look at. I couldn't find one, or to examine, and then even to find a space to debate possible solutions. And the gist of the solutions, in my understanding, tended to be around getting this big check, as it were, your big share, and some promises. And then I thought, I suspected, and then I heard, actually, I did hear a lot of people say, if black people were to get their reparations, they'd be off spending it on expensive cars, boats, big houses, and then they'll be back to square one in a very short period of time. So I did hear a lot of people say that. And then I thought, must be a different way, and we discussed it in the think tank. All my thoughts came about as a result of the discussions we had in the think tank. So it's not just me. So I'm not trying to make myself out to be a genius. It's because I had some tough questions, and we bounced tough questions back and forth in the think tank. And I kept notes going right back to 2017. Every time we met, I'd be writing down. So everybody in the think tank, they tended to be more careful what they're saying, because I'd write it down. I said, but you said 2 months ago this. So as soon as people saw the big pad of paper, pen in the discussion, they thought twice. And also on the reparations questions, how the IC3 came about, or was amplified, is that whoever joined in the think tank, I made a list of identities. So if you joined the think tank, the problem solving think tank, you had to identify yourself. So some people were saying, "Oh, I'll get maybe next time I'll get the sheet with all the different identities." That these were all black people, by the way. People that are classified as black. So some people classify themselves as black, some classify themselves as African, some people are classified themselves. I can't even remember. There was a whole different list of nearly everybody had a different classification. Right. They had a different identity. So I said, well, whatever it is, I'm going to write it down. And as a think tank progressed over time, people started to say, look, no, change my identity. I don't see myself as this anymore. So well, back in this date, you said you were a blah blah blah. Now you're changing your view, and you want to identify yourself as blah blah blah. Okay, so we did it. I just changed it. So that was interesting. How identity was addressed in the reparations problem solving discussion and think tank. Everybody had to identify themselves as something, or basically whatever they thought there was. And then we see how that identity stood the test of time. Yeah, and so the reparations, as in a lump sum, and I thought, right, let's discuss this in the think tank, see what they say. And I said, look, rather than go for a lump sum, why not see reparations as a process of reparation claims. So what do you mean that? We're talking about reparation claims. And the idea is that based off current systems, because a lot of this is based off current systems that are functioning. You know that when the police are looking for a criminal and they can't find enough evidence, sometimes they offer an award. Yeah, I think the American police do that. Yeah, all around the world. They may offer an award for evidence leading towards the successful conviction. Have you heard of that kind of thing?
I have. Yep.
Right. So they offer a reward, cash reward, for any evidence that leads towards a successful conviction. And I thought, what if he was to apply that to reparations? So you have a reparation claim, and the reparation claim would be based on a certain amount of evidence to make that claim. And that claim, if it's successful, it could be just for £50. Another successful claim could be for £40 million or dollars. Another one could be for 3.2 billion, 70% of it to be paid in dollars and the rest in pounds. Another successful claim could be for a combination of artifacts. Yes,
Right.
Maybe museum pieces, maybe works of art, and a small cachet of jewels and gold. So that claim, all those items fit within that particular claim.
Right.
Then another claim could be for $642
Right.
Yeah, because the evidence goes with the particular claim.
Right. Claim based. I'm getting the theme of this.
Yeah, claim based.
Right.
So it could be the next successful claim could be for $3 Jamaican dollars. That's all.
Won't get far off that one, I assume, but yeah.
Yeah, but the principle
Yes.
is not the amount.
It's right.
The principle is the process. And it's ongoing based on the evidence that goes with each particular claim.
Right.
And you bank the evidence as well.
Right.
Because the evidence the evidence is as valuable as the paperwork evidence is as valuable as the claim itself, isn't it? Because the evidence is not only valued for the claim, it is of historical significance.
Okay.
So that same evidence, you may be able to reuse it as part of another claim. Because you have a file of all the claims and all the evidence that goes with them. And so you're building up a file of evidence, which is obviously going to have a lot of information about history, current affairs. That would be a wonderful thing to read. And people would love to read something like that because it's actually attached to something real. They actually saw what came in as a result of that successful claim. Yes. So that's turning. It's a completely new view on the whole subject of reparations.
Right. Claim-based, evidence-based.
Yes.
Quite individual.
Now, and I'll just finish off now because I want to leave lots of time for questions. Because I know a lot of people sometimes they like to talk a lot, and then there's not much time for questions. So I'm just going to finish off by saying the reparations section is that I said to you that cash rewards for evidence leading to successful conviction of criminals. Well, I'm saying why you need the bank, why you need the black bank, why you need the IC3 black bank, because that will also store, that will be banking the files and the evidence, because those files and those evidence are also currency. Their value, aren't they? Because they're associated with successful claims and ongoing claims. It's information. So the reward would be that as successful claims are coming in, some of it will be the claims will be divided into two: tradable assets and untradable assets. The untradable assets are things like art, sculptures, and lots of other things that will not be sold. They will be used for education, for building of black institutions. Some of those artwork may be returned back to the country of origin or the place of origin. Some of those artifacts, the place of origin will say, no, leave it to the black bank to manage, or a division or an organization that has sprung from the black bank, that the black bank is financing, to leave them to manage that artifact. Our country or our nation or our community would like to donate that to this organization because of its association with the black bank, and we'd like them to do as they see fit with this material. Right, that's the untradeable assets. And then the tradable assets, well, if stuff comes in, if a successful claim produces gold, some diamonds, some American dollars, some Japanese yen, some euros, we can then use those pounds, dollars, yen, or whatever, lumps of gold, diamonds. We can use them to reward other people who may bring evidence to the bank and its investigative unit. And some of those people might be white people in very powerful positions who have access to archives. But if they bring out that evidence, they could lose their job. So then it's for the black bank to reward those white people for providing that evidence to us, and the cost to them of providing the evidence to us is they lost their job, whatever, and then we have to make sure they're looked after, because we're going to use that evidence to make successful reparation claims and as evidence for further reparation claims. And that's it. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much. That's a great timing. So what we could do now is I've placed a link, everyone, in the actual forum, so I could go for
sorry, do you want me to come off camera? Do you want me to go on camera, or stay? You want me to stay with the logo? I don't mind going face to face. I don't mind.
Yeah, your choice, whatever you're most comfortable with, you can do. And what I'm going to do is let me open up it so it goes.
Yeah. Well, you go with the flow because
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I don't mind.
So Sister
I don't
Betty,
mind doing this.
so Sister Betty had some questions, but it's probably best she asks directly now. So let me just scroll up here, see if there's anything we've missed. Let's just see. No, I think it sounds like sounds like Indian banking and Chinese banking. So it looks like India and Chinese banking have a similar concept going on there. What else do we have here? We've got any direct questions.
I think hi Raven, hi IC3.
Hey, Ben,
hello. How you doing?
Hi.
Greetings.
Hi. I think one of the first questions that people pose to IC3 is, what qualifies as black? Who are you including in the word black when you say black banking?
Okay, right. So let's look at this.
And if you would like to share anything, you can. I don't know if you can share it, but you might be able to share on the software as well. I'm thinking, if you want.
Oh yeah. Well, let's give this a go, and then because as I'm talking, people can read if they want to, or they can just listen. So let's see. Share screen. No. What I'll do? No.
Just read. That's fine.
No. I'll just read out the information. Right. So the question is, who are I see? What is the definition of the black? So.
There you go. I guess it's important because these are the people who are going to be making the claim. So some people might not be able to make a claim. I'm assuming if they don't qualify.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, don't worry. The questions will start rolling. So I'm just gonna take my time and try and lay down the foundation so that I don't have to repeat myself. Right. So IC3 is black, and then that divides into an ethnicity is, you can see here, an ethnicity is a subdivision of a race. So that would be Caribbean, B1 Caribbean, African, and other black. And then the divisions of black are black African, Angolan, other black African, black Congolese, black Caribbean, black European, black Ghanaian, black North American, black Nigerian, other black, any other black background, black Sierra Leonean, black Somali, black Sudanese, and that's it. Yeah. Any further questions? I'll go by the questions.
Okay. The next question says, why would the British government want to give black people reparations?
Why would the British government want to give black people reparations? I don't know that the British government would want to give black people reparations. So I don't know how that. Yeah, I have to explain. Why want?
I think the person is trying to imply that there would be resistance. Obviously, if the Caribbean nations, the 14 Caribbean nations right now, are taking Britain to court for reparations in relation to the Atlantic slave trade. So they're in a legal battle right now with 14 of the Caribbean nations. So I think that's what the person's implying, that, you know, obviously there's already a legal battle right now, and obviously Britain is resisting. So if you then lump in Africa wanting reparations and the Americans, you know, why would they want to, or what do you think you would you be able to persuade them? You know, give them an offer they can't refuse, like, you know, like the mafia do.
Oh, you're right. Okay, you're moving into another zone. I like that. That's good. That's good. You see, so the question also betrays the mindset. Why would somebody want to? This is not a want situation. This is power. It's about power. You've got to present the issues. You've got to have the leverage.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So I can't
So,
answer why they want to do anything.
Okay. Can I ask you? Do you think is there anything that you think could be used as leverage to, you know, apply political pressure on them in order to pay?
Of course, that's the whole concept. The combination of reparations and banking is the engine that can generate the kind of leverage necessary.
Another question I had myself is, when you say black banking, for example, the Echo Bank. There's a bank in Africa called Echo Bank. It was created by black African businessmen in the 1980s because the established white international banks, the colonial banks' relics, wouldn't lend to them. So they had to create their own bank. Now, this bank is all over Africa, and it also has a base in London. So it doesn't say black banking, but it says pan. When you go on its website, it says Pan African Bank. Yeah. So when the bank that you're hoping to create, are you hoping to use the title black banking, or are you going to sort of have it like this Echo Bank where they say Pan African Banking? Are you going to say like the Bank of Africa and the Caribbean, or the Bank of Africa, Caribbean, and the Americas? You know what I mean? Or is it just going to be under the title black?
Yes, I see 3 black.
Oh, so it's gonna be called IC3 Black Banking. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that the council could might want to adjust that slightly, but the core things is IC3 black, because that's, you see, an Echo Bank. What does it mean?
Echo.
Yeah. Okay, I tell you what. Tell us a bit about the Echo Bank, and then a lot of the issues that I've been talking about, you'll start to see them start to come up as we talk about the Echo Bank. Go on, tell us a bit more about the Echo Bank.
The Echo is basically the West African Economic Community. So obviously, West Africa, all the countries are black. Now the problem was that those black businessmen could not get loans from the established banks. When you look at the established banks in Africa, they hark back to the colonial period. Even though they might say the Bank of Nigeria or the Bank of Ghana, whatever, they have, connections back to the colonial period. So black African businessmen pooled their resources together and created the Echo Bank, which is now the Pan-African Bank. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the Echo Bank,
yeah,
as a Pan-African bank, from what you said, it was basically based around what the Africans were experiencing in West Africa.
Yeah, I don't know if it was West Africa, but when you listen to what this the CEO says, he mentions the African businessman. So he didn't say West African businessman; he said African businessman. We're experiencing.
Okay, right,
because we have a branch in Kenya. Do you see what I mean? And that's not West Africa.
Right. Good. And are the Somalis? Which Africans are?
I'd have to list. I'd have to go and look on the website to see where all the.
Yes, it'd be interesting. Are. Yeah. So I'd like to challenge the IC3 Black Bank for reparations concept versus the Echo Bank, and so it'd be great to have some an Echo Bank expert to come on
Well,
and then in the challenge, you would see the details come out.
Well, if you guys would have known, they are kind of all over, because I'm looking at the list now. They're in South Sudan, Tanzania, Tonga, Uganda, Kenya, Niger, Zimbabwe. So they seem to be all over what is known as the sub-Saharan Africa at the moment, from what I'm looking on their page. And outside Africa, they have some in France, London, Dubai, and China. They have representatives, offices. I'm not too sure how they practice, but that's what the bank seems to have. So a little education.
Right. So it was good to get an expert on the Echo Bank and its philosophy and concepts and strategy to come on, and I would like to challenge them, and then we see how things roll on. And also, if it's a Pan-African bank, then the issue comes up: what is an African? And that's going to be a major question there.
Right.
Anything else? Any more questions? Or is everybody happy and completely satisfied?
Let me have a look. One moment, let me have a look, because there's a few questions in the comments. Some of the questions are not questions, almost like observations. Like, I think, let me see what Mohi was saying about. Mohi was posing the issue of not having. I think someone mentioned cryptocurrency, and what he was saying, he was suggesting that Africa go back to creating a currency backed by its resources. And what he was asking is, what type of currency is this, the IC3 bank going to have?
Excellent question. So, what type of currency? Now, banks, like a river bank, so currency is flow, the flow of a river, currency. And the banks, the river banks, control the flow of the current. So there's a relationship between banking and the generation of currency and the printing of currency. So the power of the Black Bank for Reparations would enable it to generate its own currency.
Okay. So earlier you said to put pressure. So obviously you identified that no one's gonna really want to give anything over, and you said that you at a certain aspect you might have to maybe force someone's hands. Have you ever seen any strategies in history where certain groups who are seeking reparations force the hands of the people who owe them reparations for the actions they did as a collective? Have you witnessed it, or are you aware of it?
So the question is, in history,
Yes.
has there been a group
who have claimed reparations from another group and were successful? And have you observed their strategies of how this happened?
Right. And it obviously is by leverage. So if we say the Jews or the Jewish people were claiming reparations for the Holocaust, or the Japanese claiming for the Japanese were claiming for certain things that happened in Japan, just saying that they want reparations and hoping that the people they're demanding reparations from will want to give them reparations without any actions on their part to try and leverage up their demand or request or whatever. I can't really see I can't see how that could have worked. Are you telling me that
No.
the people that were demanding reparations for the Holocaust just asked and just sat there and didn't do anything to generate leverage? And are we saying that reparations in the past didn't have some serious backing by people in power who had worked their way into power?
Yeah.
I'm going to say I believe, I suspect they had very strong leverage. They managed to do it through power. Simple as that.
So would you say then that means the people who are making the claim have to kind of get on code and change their behavior patterns? They have to have ways
Yes.
of operating that
Yes.
guarantees this. So there's some things they have to give up and some things they have to pick up and all that kind of stuff, right?
Correct. Because the whole, sorry to say, but I see that the whole issue of banking and reparations not as it's not like something, oh, should we discuss banking and reparations tonight? No, let's watch the football match.
Right.
This thing is way anybody who speaks like that, I don't think they have started to grasp the gravity of the situation.
Right. So one thing I was going to do in the future, in future shows, is set up certain talks of like what if scenarios. And the reason I'm putting up what if scenarios is because I think you mentioned it earlier. Like you mentioned it in briefing that some people said if collectively black people get reparations, by the way we interact with each other, the things we do, it might not necessarily be as beneficial as it could be, right? I think the examples you gave is one, not having a bank in place that will never work in the collective favor, but two, how you spend your money, right? And I think
Yes.
I would like that concept, and also, what about the concept of like, unfortunately, many black people might suffer from low self-esteem and be quite undesirable in certain areas of the public, right? But I'm assuming if all of a sudden black people were going to inherit, or not inherit, but be given a large amount of assets and so forth, that black people then, at least from a superficial basis, will be actually much more appealing in the eyes of non-black people, because they will then, by connection, you will then be connected to more resources. Right.
You got it.
And
That's right.
the
You're starting to see the flow now.
yeah. The reason I'm saying a what if scenario is because if we're saying what if we go off and we spend all money on Lamborghinis and stuff, which is your freedom, whatever, but then you find yourself back at where you were before. Is that another thing that we have to work on, like the psychological training of how to receive assets and so you don't then become just like a charity man or someone who everyone is using to then take back what you took years to get. And that's more of a what if scenario. Like, what if it did happen? What would we do and how should we operate? And I guess that ties into a code of conduct and how to behave.
Exactly. And what I think is the beauty here is that if somebody comes to you or speaks to black people, I see three black, and says to them, or representing representatives from the Black Bank of Reparations starts to speak to the community. If they were just trying to start with, this is very important. Sorry about this. I forgot to mention this. Very important. It's another very strange angle, which is going to throw people off because they won't get their head around this at first. It'll take a while to sink in. The IC3 Black Bank of Reparations is not, I said, the IC3 Black Bank for Reparations is not a black savings bank for black people. Black people are not required to put a penny in this bank. What would be, otherwise, we're pointless. It's a reparations bank. That means you go there, yes, because there's assets and it's information. It's got something to give you your reparations.
Right. Okay.
Right, you don't go there to save all your money. We don't need any money from IC3 black people at all.
Right.
I had people already coming to say, "Oh yeah, I want to join your bank. I want to put some money." I said, "No, nothing, not even a penny, nothing from black people. It's a reparations bank."
Right, right. So what you're saying is reparations will be placed in that bank for black people, and they can go and retrieve it when they like. But they don't require to put money in there beforehand and afterhand and stuff like that, right? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It's a reparations bank. Yeah. So I've had lots of people say, "Well, when can I put money in there?" Well, no money from black people.
Can I ask a question? So if you don't put money in, and it's a reparation, how will you make it viable?
Excellent question. Where's the money going to come from? It's going to come from, I mentioned it before, successful reparations claims.
So if they're always going to can you explain that more? Because I don't understand what you mean, because to me it don't really make sense. Because if the money is going to come from reparations, you don't want anyone putting any money in. Are they allowed to hold money in the bank?
No, it's coming from reparations. Therefore, it will be coming from the organizations, the institutions, the banks that owe black people money.
So they can have a bank account with their money in their name, but they're never allowed to put money in. The money has to come from the organizations that owe black people reparations. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Black people go there to collect and to present their black betterment ideas to the board and the experts within the bank, who will then, from the constantly increasing reparations assets, will then finance and invest in black betterment projects.
So so the people that get a bank account out of the IC3 bank, obviously they're going to be people who still want to save money. So are you expecting the people who come into, the black people that use your bank account, are you expecting them to just have a bank account with you?
No. The black bank, IC3 Black Bank for Reparations, is for processing reparations. Now, as a result of the accumulating reparations claims, black people may decide they'd like to set up savings banks. They might desire to upgrade their partner system and set up an organization to do that. So if they want to set up a bank, a savings bank, then they may come to the Black Bank for IC3 Black Bank for Reparations, and then we may provide them with maybe a startup capital or whatever they need to set up their black savings bank. So the IC3 Black Bank for Reparations is for processing reparation claims, and managing those assets, and that information, and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
people want to say, there might be about 5 black banks that may spring up as a result of the activities of the IC3 Black Bank for Reparations.
So will you be a liaison with established black banks already? Will you be a liaison with them? Because obviously, there's black banks in America, obviously, and in Africa, there's places. You're going to be a liaison with them. You're going to have a network.
Okay. I'm stating, and from what I gathered from the think tank that we have, that there are no black banks in existence at the moment. There are banks that started off as black banks, but as a result of strategies by their enemies, they are no longer black banks. And the controlling interests of those banks are, I suspect, white supremacists. Even though a lot of black people may be banking in those banks, those banks are not black banks, and they're certainly not IC3 black banks.
So,
but I'll put that out there to challenge. That's a challenge.
Yeah,
you got a black bank. You know of a black bank. I'm saying there's none. You say there's black banks. Let's have it.
I think Echo Bank for one. I would challenge your statement to the honest truth from information that I know. But
good. Let's have it.
I don't, because we've already talked about Echo Bank, so there's no point rehashing the same thing. But what I would like to ask, the next question is, because you said something about white supremacy, and you said that something about are you talking about they've got a controlling? Did you say something about controlling the black banks that started off as black banks that now white supremacists?
One second. Are you, Betty, saying that the Echo Bank is a black bank?
Yeah.
I just want to get that clear.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a black bank.
Right. Are you representative of Echo Bank?
No, I'm not representing the black.
Do you know any representatives of Echo Bank who can confirm that what you believe is correct?
I don't know people personally, but I can give you details of the people if you wanted to contact them.
Okay.
Because
no. You believe?
I don't speak for that bank. I don't speak for that bank. I mean, I'm not on their payroll. I'm just going with what they.
But you're convinced. Okay, so you're convinced that they're a black bank.
Yeah.
Are you convinced that they're a IC3 black bank?
No.
Oh, right. Okay. So the type of black bank you're talking about is Echo is a politically black bank, type 1, or are you talking about Echo as a type 2, a BAME black bank? What type of which one of those?
Like when you say politically black, first you'd have to explain what do you mean by politically black, and then you'd have to explain the next term that you were speaking about.
Oh yeah, but you missed it. Yeah. So I said type 1, politically black. A politically black bank. Politically black means anybody who's not white.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about black bank. I'm talking about black. Black. So
okay, so it's not that type then. It's not type 1.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Right. So you're not talking about type 2, which is right. So are you talking about IC3 black?
No. When you say what's type 2?
Type 2 is, have you heard of BAME? That's black, Asian, minority, ethnic.
No, I'm not talking about that either.
Right. Okay, so it's not type 1, it's not type 2. And it's not type 3, which is the IC3 black bank.
No.
Right. So what is this black then? When you say it's a black bank, what do you mean by black? Let me write this down.
Okay, I explained it
number
before.
4.
I explained it before. I said it was
Missed it.
created by Black African businessmen who could
Black
not,
African
yeah,
businessmen.
who could not get money from the established banks in Africa, who had
Okay.
ties to the colonial regimes and era.
Right.
They
Okay.
needed money, obviously, to do business,
Yeah,
and
I
they needed
understood that.
banking
Yeah.
facilities, but they were
Yeah.
not allowed. They couldn't get what they needed, so they had to create their own thing.
Yeah, I understood all that. But it's this word, Black African business people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So Black African, what is a Black African according to your definition?
Well, if my definition of a Black African is if you're black and you're from Africa, yeah.
Right. If you're black,
But I know this. I know that sometimes when they say sub-Saharan African, not all the black people in Africa who are black live in sub-Saharan Africa. They are native people in North Africa, like Libya, the Taboo of Libya. They're black Africans that live in Chad and the south of Libya, the south of Morocco, the Berbers, the black Berbers of Algeria. They are indigenous black Africans that also live in what they call the Arab North Africa. But so that's what I mean when I'm talking black African.
right? Okay. So how would you identify a black African?
Highly melanated people who are indigenous to the African continent. When you talk, if I mean I'll tell you how I would
Highly melanated.
identify them. I'll tell you who I wouldn't identify them. If they say they're black American, if I say black African, I'm normally talking about black African, the people that are from Africa who are in
Oh,
Africa.
right. Sorry. So that doesn't include the diaspora.
No, because
Oh,
diaspora,
right.
the diaspora,
Ah,
when it says black African, if we say if I said a black Caribbean, black American, then that's what I mean, because that
right.
doesn't include
Okay.
people in Africa.
Right. 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 Okay. Okay. Um, and does that include mixed race people?
Would I? It depends on what you mean, because
I
personally,
mean,
for me
sorry. So let me sorry. Let me clarify. So if a person had a black African, by your definition, a black African father and a white mother, and they were born in Africa, would they qualify as black African in your definition?
in my personal definition, no. When I talk
Oh,
about black
oh,
African, when I'm talking about black African, I mean black African. Me, mum and dad are African, black Africans. If you have mixed
right.
heritage,
Interesting.
then
Interesting.
you're black and white, aren't you? Or black or whatever. But so when I'm talking about that Echo Bank, we're talking about black African people who've created it. I'm not talking about black African who are black African and they got and they're white Italian. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about black African businessmen that created it.
Right. And yeah, yeah. I probably won't. I probably won't ask any more questions on this because we need to know. I'd like to know. I suppose that's why I need to speak to a representative or somebody who knows a great deal about the Echo Bank to let me know if they share the views of Betty. Yes, I've heard Betty's views, but I'd like to know if the official views of blackness held by the Echo Bank is actually part of their policy. Is it their policy? Is Echo Bank's policy that to bank with them, you have to be a Black African. And if, so there's quite a few questions. So we'll leave that. So I'm going to put in Black identity number 4. So I mentioned 3, but now Betty thinks there's a different version. So I'll put a question mark there for next time. So I'd like to explore that a bit more. Brilliant question, brilliant points. Great food for thought, Betty.
IC3. What in your definition would qualify for an IC3 Black bank? I guess because right now the claims you're talking to is a reparations bank. So I assume it only serves. Is it correct to assume it's run by and only serves IC3 Black people? Would that be correct or not correct? In the bank of proposal.
Very good question. Right. So the IC3 Black Bank is dealing with IC3 Blackness as a people and as an asset class. So Blackness itself, or IC3 Blackness itself, refers to people and an asset class. So it's a double wing. And anybody who is mixed Black, more than not mixed race, because you could be Chinese and Indian, not just mixed race, it's mixed Black. That means as part of the structure, anybody who has Blackness in them are entitled to a share of Black reparations.
Right.
So even me, classing myself as IC3 Black, I am actually, which could be questioned, I think needs to be even investigated further, I am 97.7% Black and 2.3% Northern European.
Can I ask you a question?
Whoa! I haven't finished yet. This is the reason I'm going so slowly, because a lot of people will miss what I'm going to say, what I'm saying. So, part of the structure of the IC3 Black Bank for Reparations, in the council, there'll be a mixed Black division, and the Black Bank for Reparations will be dealing in reparation shares. So therefore, 100%. You can look this up. It's all written down, so you can look it up. There's 100% for full Black. You get a 100% share if you're full Black. You get 75% if you're 3/4 Black. 3/4 Black. You get a 50% share if you're half Black. You get a 25% share if you're quarter Black. Yes. So it's dealing with IC3, but also mixed Black people as a separate shareholders.
So it's lineage. Lineage is part of that.
Correct. So lineage it plays a part. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
So mixed Black people are entitled to a share of reparations.
Right. You know these mixed Black people, because you're talking about shares. What happens when you get the person that is like Bob Marley's side piece. What was that lady's name? Cindy Shakespeare.
Okay.
She's like 75% like European, something like that, and only like about 25% black. Are you going to be giving her 25% as well? And what about the people that
Correct.
the people that are white that like the people that have a really small percentage of black? Are you going to be giving them a share of reparations, even if they're in like for example, Obama's mother? She's got black blood in her, even though she's white. Are you gonna give her? Would you give her a share?
So we have an accounts department. We'll have an accounts department that will process in more details the sharing out of reparations. But the fundamental model is as I described: full black, 100%.
So even the people that have lived their life as white, because you said anyone who's got ancestry that are black. Now,
lineage.
But they are people lineage that are black. Yeah, they've got black lineage, but they are people with very small percentages that are literally white passing, that would never experience any sort of discrimination, and you're going to give them a share of this reparation check.
Remember, I said it already. It's just do the maths. Reparations shares based on the percentage of blackness within the person. So you can work it out. Or if you can't work it out, we will have people that will deal with that. The accounts department, the banking account department will deal with that. And also, there'll be, because in our discussions, in our think tanks, we had some mixed race people come down and they were firing some questions and so on. So we've been there, and they were saying, some people were saying, what if they're mixed race, but the black people had no, the black people within the blackness within their lineage did not experience the transatlantic slave. They weren't enslaved. And so they were saying, some of those mixed black. Some of those mixed black people were saying to our think tank, well, we should get a larger share, because the blackness within us, we descended from those people that experienced the transatlantic slave trade and suffered in the Caribbean, and so we want more money than those people, those black people, mixed black people, where their black lineage did not experience the transatlantic slave trade. So we were discussing this in the think tank and going around and around, and they say, no. The mixed black people say, no way, they get the same as us. And then we said, right, okay, well, the think tank, we think the best way is that they will be entitled to a share, they get the same share, but there'll be an appeal process. And if the evidence coming in from successful reparations claims show and demonstrate that, in fact, mixed black people of Caribbean descent or American descent deserve more, then there's an appeal process, and in that appeal process, there'll be, I don't know the proper words, tribunal or discussion, where that issue may be dealt with. So that's still a small amount is negotiable based on evidence
So what would
Yeah.
you say about like so obviously the different black people from all over the world in regards to, let's say, the British Empire, right?
Correct.
Whatever nation they're from, they've experienced a different level of trauma. So, for example, the black people in Jamaica would have been taken from, say, West Africa to Jamaica, gone through an experience, while the Nigerians or the West Africans left behind, their experience would be more like colonization and neo-colonization, this kind of stuff, right?
Correct.
So, are you saying from a claim perspective, you're pushing forward? These are the claims that you're claiming against those particular injustices. Is that correct? What I'm saying?
Correct. So the Black Bank for Reparations
Right.
will be dealing in categories. So one category will be reparations for African enslavement and the transatlantic slave trade. Another category for reparations will be colonialism. Yes. And then another category for reparations will be the Arab slave trade.
Right.
Yes. So these are all different departments. And the IC3 Black Bank for Reparations will have experts in history dealing with those specific areas.
So you would say that this
Can I
is
ask a question?
Go ahead, Lee, go ahead.
Do you recognize that some of the mixed people who are mixed black, like the Afrikaners, if you go to South Africa, you get the coloured folk, yeah, and I'm sure it's the same experience of the Caribbeans and Americans, that they are people who have black ancestry that have became the oppressor class, and if they receive a check, the majority of their DNA is from the people that came in who either enslaved them or colonized them, yeah, and if they receive a check for oppressing, black people when the majority of their DNA is not even black. I mean, South Africa is a prime example that people who are coloured are treated better than the indigenous inhabitants of black people right now.
Very good
Even
point.
speaking
Excellent
white
point, Betty.
Afrikaners have 5%, 10% black African blood, and that your IC3 bank would be giving them money, even though the majority of their ancestors were the ones that were oppressing black people.
Beautiful point. Excellent point. You're shooting. You got the good guns, Betty. I like it. Very good. Good food for thought. Yes. Well, as many of you will be aware, there's something called the BIS, which is the Bank for International Settlements. BIS, the Bank for International Settlements. So, looking at that model, we thought in our think tank, there could be something similar for black people, IC3 black people and mixed black people internally, either as I think it may be an internal department of the Black Bank, and there could be other subsidiaries that offer services along that line. And so it would be the black, actually, basically it's a yeah, you could I'll give you the link so you can all read the information. No, let me finish. I haven't finished yet. There'll be an internal division where there'll be meetings between the different departments on internal matters and internal disagreements. And yeah, so just like there's a bank for international settlements, there'll be the Black Bank for national settlements. Does that answer the question?
To tell you the truth, when you say they, I would have a big problem with just the very fact that someone who's only 10% of Black African blood, or whatever black you're calling it, could even get classified as black.
No, mixed black.
No, I'd have a problem with that. The very fact that
Okay.
you can even use that title, mixed black,
Okay. So
because that is the same problem in North Africa, where you've got people who are claiming, some of them are claiming to be black, some of them are claiming to be Arab, might only have 10%. Even in the Aborigines, the Karate of Australia, you have people who are like 90% white European and only 10% black Aborigine, but they're running around claiming that they're oppressed and getting a check. They want they want
right.
to get the same treatment that the person that is just plain old black Aborigine, and they're claiming that they get the same experience.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So you raised a good point there, Betty, and I think you would, a person like you would be of great value sitting in the conferences that will no doubt arise, and the discussions and the debates, and in order to achieve a settlement on those very issues that you're raising. So we need people like you who have a strong view on these issues, and we'll have other people, and then obviously it will be like a discussion, a court situation.
Can I just jump in for a bit of clarity for Betty's sake? Just so she's aware of, I think, what you said. I think what he was saying was, if you have a person who is, say, 95 or 100% black by his definitions, the claim will get that much percentage, or 100% of whatever the claim was. While if someone was, like you said, 10%, they would only get 10% of that. Is that correct, IC3? Is that how you're?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I'm just going to post. I'm going to put a link in the chat. Actually,
Would that make a difference in your mind, Betty? If it's done by percentage, would that make a difference in your mind?
The percentage, yeah, it seems good in theory, but the fact of the matter is, they are people of mixed heritage who are oppressing people who are like 95% black, like IC3. And for them to even get a check when the majority of their ancestors were the oppressor, to me, seems truly unfair. Go to Brazil. This is what you're seeing in Brazil. There are people the people that run Brazil are people of mainly European descent, but they do have black African blood. But they shit on the people that have more black African blood. So how are they having how are they even entitled to a check? If the majority of their ancestors never came, would the people who have the majority of black African blood be terrorized and have to be demanding a check?
So
Because
if you had to put in a policy, Betty, how would you write it? Like, how would you write it to protect the claims you're making from I guess abuse, is what you're saying, where an oppressive class, and to be honest, this kind of bleeds into my other area of mismanagement, where it's like, if black people are going to receive anything, you are going to find mismanagement where people can infiltrate and kind of like with the whole Indian reservation, where somehow Europeans who are claimed to have Indian descent end up owning land that's reserved for, by dressing up in certain clothing and so forth, right? And this goes on in Australia as well, the Aborigine. I've seen documentaries about it. So you're trying to defend black people from that kind of practice, but how would you put that in? Because brother ICF is trying to put things in paperwork with percentages. How would you put that in paperwork to prevent that issue that you witness, or you're witnessing?
if there's a thing called, what we're talking about is white privilege and white supremacy, yeah, you've already got your reparations check. You've already got your check because you're walking around the world as white, regardless of whether you have 10%, 5% black African. You already have that white privilege. This idea just because you got this 5% that you need a black check.
Mm.
But look at North Africa.
Yeah.
You will go to North Africa and you will see them now, even though some of these white Africans, even though they're claiming to be Arab, a lot of them, the majority of their bloodline is going to Euro-Asia.
Yeah.
But some of them are running around claiming to be indigenous, but black people,
Yeah.
saying they're indigenous to the land and all this stuff.
So
Just because they got about 10%.
would you push forward maybe a committee of and a process of people have to prove their Africanity or their black level, their IC freeness?
I think I think I'm going to be honest with just, and this is my opinion. I think you're going to have to cut it off. I don't think you can be handing a check out to everybody.
Where would
It sounds good in theory, this 5%, but you could end up empowering the very people who descend from the people that are oppressing black folk, regardless of where they are.
What cutoff would you want to do then? Like, what percentage cutoff would you reckon might be a decent cutoff from your opinion?
For me, it's probably, if I'm going to be honest, it's probably going to be maybe 20, 30%, something like that.
So I guess,
and also how much you get, because this percentage, but also what type of reparations is it?
I think what Bro IC3 was talking about was each claim from a different people group is based upon the experiences in the land that the claim was made. So Afro-Caribbean might make a different claim from someone from South Africa, right? And also who they're claiming against. At first, I thought the banking concept that brother was pushing forward was based upon England, but it seems to be a world thing where any black person who's from the IC3 category who's been oppressed through either Arab slave trade or the transatlantic slave trade, Jim Crow, or these kind of things, I'm assuming, can make a claim, and then that bank will represent them on that claim. Is that right?
Did you say?
That's correct. That's correct. It's worldwide. It's worldwide.
Arabs. Did you say you claim reparations from Arabs?
Correct.
So you want
Arab slave trade. The Arab slave trade.
Are you aware that some of the Arabs were black Africans themselves?
Oh, watch this. Very good. Very good point. You see, you're raising some very good points tonight.
Yeah.
Now,
let me go on with IT3.
Very good. Very good. Rubbing his hands. So, if you claim to be Arab, then trying to claim blackness, or plus, if you claim to be Arab and Muslim, then you'll have to accept blackness as an identity. And that could raise some very interesting issues. Would you want to? Because then we leave it to the accounts department. Of course, we leave it to the accounts department. If you're trying to claim black shares as an Arab, would your Arabness, you identify yourself as Arab, you identifying yourself as Arab, would that negate, or to what percentage would that negate the claim, the black claim, the claim on blackness? See, so these details are excellent. This is what will be discussed and sorted out in the equivalent of the Bank for International Settlements. We'll have the Bank for National Settlements, Black National Settlements. So all these questions, they will not just float away like you're raising, Betty. All these points are brilliant points. And what's different about them is not that just people will be just talking about it, getting all emotional about it, and then going home or going to watch the football. No, that will be logged, and all your presentations will be logged.
As a question, because I thought I made the assumption that your IC3 bank was about white supremacy, getting reparations from the Western Europe, who was doing the colonization and enslavement. But once you throw in the Arab bit, that because like there's people like the Sudanese, I know a few Sudanese, they're as black as me, but they will tell you that they're Arab. They'll also tell you that they're obviously the Sudanese, and we all know where Sudan is. Sudan's in Africa. Now, with the Sudanese, one of maybe their great grandfather, one of their great 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 fathers was an Arab, and then another 10 of them were black Africans. But because of Arab imperialism, they're now claiming to be Arab, and they don't forget the black African bit. Do you see what I mean? Because the Arab
Brilliant.
bit,
Yes. Yeah. Brilliant. You're raising brilliant points, Betty. We need those. Write those points down and prepare them, because you may get an invite to sit on the board or the negotiation or the diplomatic.
Yes.
The black diplomatic division, and then you'll be able to raise them, and you don't want to forget them. You don't want to forget them.
I see. And Raven, I generally have found this difficult myself because I've got a couple of these Sudanese neighbors, and even the Egyptians. You'll meet them; they're black, but they speak Arabic,
That's right.
this language. But they're as black as me and you. You wouldn't even know that they were Arab.
That's
and what
right.
they got, like in Latin, in the Caribbean, you'll find black people who I'm Latino, I'm Puerto Rico, but that's not a race. It's just a
There you go. That's right.
But they put that first before their racial identity.
Well, that's a topic of future where where race, culture, and identity comes in, and it is a very interesting one. And I think with what ICP is saying is like these are all based upon claims. So regardless of what person speaks or what they do, they're tapping into a claim where their particular people group were affected by some kind of misjustice or some kind of some kind of injustice and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, but that is definitely a topic for another show, to be honest. And speaking of other shows and stuff, we're hitting the 2-hour mark. And if anyone else has got questions, by all means, you can jump in or give it now. But we've had a very strong talk today. Sister Betty's gone in with some good questions, and obviously, Brother IC3, he knows his stuff, and he's obviously done his think tank and done his research and pushed forward the ideas that push to the top. So this has been a good week. But if there's any questions in the forum, ask now, because I'm assuming we'll be done unless people want to really go on somewhere else. We'll be done in about 5 minutes. I'm assuming, unless people jump on and we will take it somewhere else. But generally, we've had a 2-hour discussion without even noticing it. So that means a lot of science has been dropped, a lot of information, a lot of ideas, which is good.
Can I ask a question in terms of the Arab thing again to IC3?
Yeah, please.
In your meetings, were there black people in your meetings demanding reparations from the Arab slave trade?
Say that again?
Were they in your meetings, and the black people that you've gone to the meetings with, for the IC3 bank, were they black people or mixed black people wanting reparations from the Arabs as well?
There were only black people and mixed black people in the think tank.
Yeah, but did they mention? Did they say they specifically want reparations from Arabs for the Arab slave trade?
The mixed black people that came to the think tank that was going for a few years, they were mostly mixed black Caribbean. We didn't have any Somali or East African or South African people. They were mainly Africans and Caribbeans, and
Yeah, I wasn't asking. No, I was asking, did they ask for reparations from the Arabs? Because your bank is about reparations.
Oh no, they were mainly focused on reparations for the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
So there's
yeah,
only
so they wouldn't have been wouldn't have been thinking. I mean, there was mention about Arabs, but so just in passing, it they were so focused and intense on reparations in the context of the transatlantic slave trade, enslavement, that they hadn't even gone on to
okay.
Arabs or even colonialism that much.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people haven't been thinking about reparations in terms of colonialism. That's quite a new subject for people. They're only thinking every time reparations discussions come up, they think people assume it's just about the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah, I think probably because there's more. Well, obviously, the Caribbean nations have taken Britain to court. I know, but I don't think there's really a big, massive movement in Africa to get reparations as the African Union for one. I don't think they have a court dealing with the former colonial powers to ask for reparations because the European Union funds a huge percentage of the African Union's activities anyway.
Correct. So I've started to notice though that people that were normally silent on this issue are now starting to speak about colonialism as colonialism as an aspect of reparations, and their voices are starting to get louder. And even now I'm getting good feedback from the Somali. I'm working with a lot of Somali people, and
Yeah.
they seem to be getting into this. It's very good. It's like because they thought, oh, this slavery is nothing to do with us, nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But when I started talking about Arab slave trade, they went, whoop, they're in there, they're in
Yeah.
there.
I think there's
So
like
it's getting interesting, very interesting.
yeah, I think there's like the Herero people who are demanding reparations from Germany for
There you
their
go.
yeah, but it's only like small pockets from what I know of people from the continent that are trying to
At
get
the moment.
reparations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but just imagine when they link up with the people in the Americas and the Caribbean and Brazil, because all of it is covered in blackness and a black bank, you see, because then the bank could have an East African division.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, it could have a West African division, South African division, North African division, European division. America. So the Americans will be all the ADOS people, and it's a lot stronger than ADOS. This concept. Yeah, I'm making statements now, and I'm inviting challenges. I'm making statements. Yes, this project is far stronger than ADOS, far stronger than CDOS. That's Caribbean descendants of slaves. Far stronger than any colonial reparations activity at the moment, and far stronger than any conversation about the Arab slave trade. Why? Because this combines all of them, and all of them are just departments within the Black Bank. So the Black Bank will have East African concerns department, and there'll be specialists in there with the history of the abuse of people classified as black in East Africa, which I don't know anything about.
Right.
There'll be experts with who know about the experience of and the impact of colonialism in West Africa. Yeah, I'll just say I don't know anything about it. I've heard about it, but you get people that know history, that know traditions, that have oral traditions. Get those people to talk and sit in that division. And if I want to know anything about the impact on black people in East Africa, I'll just sit in on the meetings, and I'm going to be loaded up with real information, because when it comes to banking, there'll be no jokes. Those people, when they talk, and in minutes, there'll be serious information plus evidence that will be coming in as well. So the quality of information in any of these meetings, in any of the departments of the IC3 Black Bank, is going to be incredible.
All right. Well, like I said, family, there, brother IC3 and Betty, is there anything you like to end on now? Because we're coming to the last few minutes now. So maybe promotion of your events or promotion of your channels, and we look forward for you to come back again in a bigger debate. And obviously, you're always welcome to come back again. So you guys like to sign off with any last kind of words or anything like that?
Oh,
Yeah,
what do you think of the guy that got killed in America? Yeah, obviously, you know, George Floyd, you know, all those police officers have been let out on bail now.
Right.
And obviously there was another brother called Jonathan who was killed by the police in Texas. A white police officer killed him. And he was actually, yeah. So what do you think of all that? The fact that this guy that killed George is out on bail now. He's got his 1 million. Someone paid the 1 million bond.
Well, that's tackling to a topic of like I guess white supremacy in the sense of and like the dynamics of injustice that's faced by black people versus non-black people, and more specifically white people, and and the consistency of how that happens. That I suspect that if we start that debate, it'll take us all through the morning, right? That's a thing. But to answer your question you asked, it isn't a surprise that that there's a murder of brother Floyd, and there's this big protest across the world, and yet he's managed to get $1 million bail, and now he's free waiting his trial. It's not a surprise. It's quite consistent, you see. Hence why when brother IC3 is talking about code of conduct and getting on code, how we react is important, like how we get on code, because in their community, in the white supremacist community, they're getting on code to pay for his bail. So they can be able to make sure he doesn't suffer.
Yeah.
Least, and that's what like what we tend to do as a collective is in the initial start of the trauma of the problems, we make the most noise, but many white supremacists, they play the waiting game, and they can wait for a couple of weeks or months, and then once it's died down, then we've moved on to something else, and we don't have that same shock value we had before, and that's how people can slip through the cracks, and maybe justices can be completely ignored because we've forgotten. So it's good that you brought that up, and to be honest, maybe that might be a topic of the future where we can actually correlate that into a question like, how is betterment achieved when these processes exist? Like, how can we improve that? Which is a very good question. So, but you guys can end your thing.
My view, how I addressed questions like that is that since I've started with others in the think tank on the project of the IC3 Black Bank for reparations, when one gets intensely into this subject and realizes the magnitude of the subject, one moves more into the problem and solving and solution mode. And as one moves in the solution mode and starts moving hard into the solution mode, you find that your discussions of the current problems, current affairs, kind of goes more silent because the brain space becomes is the processor. The mind is processing. It spent so much of your mind is in processing answers and solutions. You don't really have much space left to discuss symptoms of the greater issue, because a black bank LIC3 Black Bank for Reparations and the issue of reparations itself will just deal with all that. It's the final. It's the solution to all of those symptoms that keep popping up. Will there be more shootings next year? There seems to be a cycle of these problems that the Black people are suffering. But these are symptoms of a greater issue, and it's just that I'll always have very little to say on current affairs. That's because I'm too much focused on the solutions, and because how I see it and others see it who are in this think tank. There's a serious battle coming up, and as it was mentioned in the beginning of this very stream, they say, "Well, are the British going to want the word want to give reparations?" And then I said, "Hey, this is about leverage. This is about power. So if you start dealing with power, you've got to make sure that your setup and your planning is sharp and tight, because if you make a mistake on the issue of banking and reparations, that plan has got to be tight. That army's got to be on code." Because I suspect there's going to be only one chance at this.
I hear that.
When it kicks off. That's how my position.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I don't. If you ask me questions like that, I'll have very little to say. Right. Because
And just to add to what Sister Betty said, I think the brother's name was Jonathan Price. I've just googled the full name. And I think in that situation, I haven't really researched it, but what I've heard is he was trying to stop domestic or some kind of fight in the street between people, and the police shot him. And I'm aware he was quite open in his I've been told he was quite open in his love for all and this kind of stuff. So this is something that we will have to tackle, that that concept in the future. Like, is it in Black people's best interest to put their lives at harm? Like for example, that concept that are Black people more at risk when you ring the police? So you have to be very wary when you ring the police, no matter what. So even trying to stop a domestic abuse, you might be seen more as the threat. But that's something we can tackle as time goes by. But look, if there's anything you'd like to say on your last words before we end the show, Betty?
Oh no, it's fine. Thanks. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Until next time. I'm sure. Well, I don't know. I think some people may find the subject interesting, and I'm sure there's a lot more questions to be asked. There's a lot more questions to be asked, and more questions will be generated by anybody who listens to this stream, because Betty dropped some serious bombs. Very good.
But she always does. She really does contribute well to these talks. And like I said, anyone who catches these streams, whether it's live or as a video, anything to do with Black Betterment, anything you want to talk about, just give me a message or an Instagram, which is Rap Raven Instagram, or even this message in one of these actual the forums here, or where you leave a comment, and you can actually have your own slot next week. We have 2 slots usually, where 2 people bring their own topic that they want to talk about, and we're trying to find out how to achieve betterment through their topic. So this week, brother, I see free to talk about black banking and reparations and how that could be used for betterment. So if anything you want, by all means, and even if you come on week to week, if it's a first come first serve thing, so you probably will, you always be able to jump on, whatever. And at the end of it, everyone's welcome to jump on to actually have a debate or just spread out and ask certain questions. But that's for today. The Black Betterment show, Black Betterment broadcast. Sorry, it was great.
Question: what's next week's topic?
I don't know. So right now, whoever wants to come on, they will choose it. If I don't get anyone interested, then I will pick a topic. But so you guys, if we can't find someone by say Monday, Tuesday, you're welcome to jump back on and invite your friends to do a separate topic or a new topic. You're always welcome. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Big up, Rap Raven. This is a great stream.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the challenge out there. Can you ask a question that you think I won't be able to answer on Black Betterment as regards banking and reparations? That's a challenge. What you got?
Okay, cool. All right, we'll see what they say. Hi, family. All right, guys, we're gonna end now. Have a good one, guys. Yeah, see ya.
Yep. Have a good night.
Good
Take care.
Right,
Bye.